Hey everybody, it is day two of our virtual assistant jumpstart series. And we had such an amazing turnout yesterday. Over 500 people joined us live for the training, and we're going to be having an amazing time today, really digging into the question, do I have what it takes to start a virtual assistant business? I just realized my mic wasn't close enough. Here, can you hear me now? Okay, hopefully that's better. So we're going to be diving into, do I have what it takes to start a virtual assistant business? And we're going to be talking about a little bit of like the supplies and things you need, but a lot of just the mindset that you need to launch your own business, specifically a virtual assistant business, because there's some things that you need to know along the way that are really going to help guide you towards success. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yesterday, we talked all about your big why, and really started to get into our flip the switch goals. So if you don't know what a flip the switch goal is, you likely missed yesterday's live stream, which is totally fine. You can go to the virtualsavvy.com/jumpstart and you will be sent an email with the replays to know, what we actually talked about yesterday. So go ahead and click this if you missed yesterday's live stream. But what we're going to be talking about today is, do I have what it takes to start my own virtual assistant business? So just a reminder, I'm going to do a big Q&A at the very end. So the teaching will be about 20 minutes. Yesterday, we stayed on for 40 minutes answering questions. So if you want to ask me questions personally, then I'll be here just hanging out with you guys, answering questions. And so kind of be thinking as we're going through the training, what questions would I want to ask Abby about my virtual assistant business, about getting started, okay? And my team is in the comments. So some of you guys have been posting. Our comments section was blowing up yesterday. It was awesome. So if you guys have questions that my team can answer, go ahead and put those in the comments throughout the live stream. They're all in there answering questions. Had a ton of awesome engagement yesterday, which I loved. Give me a little heart if you were at yesterday's live stream. I'd love to know how many of you guys are joining us again today. And at the very end, we'll also bring on Melanie. I'll go ahead and introduce you to Melanie real quick. Hi, Melanie.
Hey, everybody.
So this is Melanie, and she is actually our SavvySystem director. So the SavvySystem is our signature training program for virtual assistants that actually opens this Friday. We only open the course 2 times a year. And Melanie is our SavvySystem director. So she's the one that helps our students really get into launching their program, gives them support. What's one thing you love about being the SavvySystem director?
I love hearing all of your stories and seeing when people start the program and the progression they make, seeing them land clients. It's such an awesome feeling to see the people in the program grow their businesses.
Yeah, it's really rewarding. I love those testimonies.
So
just like, it's so awesome. Well, cool. So Melanie's going to be hanging out below, collecting the questions. And then at the very end, we'll go through and we'll answer as many of your questions as we can live. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this thing. Let's get started, because I know you guys are excited. So many of you joined us yesterday and you're like, I'm doing this thing. I'm all in. So let's just go for it. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here and we will There we go. All right. Can everybody see this okay? So today, like we said, is day 2 of the Business Jumpstart Challenge. The whole goal is that we are getting you guys to start your own at-home business in 2021. And so many of you guys said yesterday, yes, Abby, this is my year. This is the year I'm finally going to start my own business. And what a great time to start an at-home business, right? Definitely needed at this time. And it's just been so cool because, 2020 was crazy for all of us. I think we can all admit. And unfortunately, so many businesses suffered. And I really feel for so many of my business friends who had such a drastic decline in business. But I will say this, virtual assistants was not an industry that suffered. In fact, it's an industry that I feel like really thrived throughout this whole pandemic. And a huge part of that, I believe, is that people just came more comfortable with hiring remotely. It's like, oh, this is a thing. It's okay to hire remotely. This isn't as hard. And I think that scary barrier that people felt about hiring remotely was just removed, and it just opened up this whole new possibility. So our students actually saw an increase, not a decrease in, job opportunities and in their, client workload in general. So just something to put kind of in the back of your mind, man. 2021, this really, if there's not a better time to start a virtual assistant business, I don't know when would be. So here's what we're going to be actually talking about today. We are going to be talking about, do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes to start my own virtual assistant business? And so as a reminder, hi, I'm Abby Ashley. I'm the founder of the Virtual Savvy. I started my own virtual assistant business back in 2015. I was able to sell out my services so quickly that I brought on a team of subcontractors to help me with all the work. It was the coolest feeling in the world to be pushing my kids on the swing and getting paid an invoice because I knew that my team was doing work, and I was supporting other moms, and it just became this awesome thing for my family. And so in 2016, I had so many people asking me, Abby, how did you do this? That I launched an online course called the SavvySystem to teach other people how to become virtual assistants as well. So that's me. I'm Abby. A little bit of inside information about me. I have a family that I absolutely love. They are my why. They are why I do what I do. We are crazy. We are a crazy, fun family. We're actually, little side note, we're a family of 3 extroverts and 1 introvert. So just pray for my daughter because we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't like go out and be doing things 7 nights a week. Maybe we should have a couple nights just at home and chill. So she's been good for us to learn how to slow down a little. And but I absolutely love my family. Huge Destiny's Child fan, like obsessively huge Destiny's Child. Anything 90s pop really is my jam. It's my working music. I'm an amateur beatboxer, emphasis on the amateur. And, I've always wanted something that I could just contribute and felt like was mine, which virtual assistants was absolutely that for me, a way to contribute to my family financially, but also just to have something that I felt ownership and I could pour my creativity into. So for day 2, just like yesterday, make sure that you're really just focusing on this training. Close out your other tabs. Let this be a time for you. We don't take enough time for ourselves. So let this be a time for you, for something that you want to accomplish. Go ahead and do that. If you have any technical difficulties, just hit refresh. We've seen 99% of times the technical difficulties people have, they can just be solved if they refresh their screen and come right back to the training. And as a reminder, my team is helping in the comments, and Melanie will be helping us live as well. She'll be jumping in at the end to answer questions with me. So here's what we're going to come over today. We're going to talk about what you really need. It's actually not as many things as you think it is. What you actually need to become a VA. Number 2, we'll do a live Q&A, just a chance for you guys to ask me any questions. So be thinking of your questions throughout the training. And then lastly, we did this yesterday. My team thought it would be fun to do this Be Bold challenge. We're encouraging you guys to be bold, so we're being bold as well. And so yesterday they had me teach Melanie how to beatbox. It was really fun. And then today there's another Be Bold challenge. I don't know what it is. So if you want to see me embarrass myself at the end of this live stream, you should stay tuned because it's going to be great. No, it's fun. Okay. So in this, yesterday, we talked about your why. How many of you guys, let me know in the comments, actually decided on like your why? What is going to be that motivating thing? I hope that you got a Post-it note and you stuck it on your computer, your laptop, put it in your workspace. What is going to be that motivating thing that's driving you when things get difficult? That's what we talked about yesterday. We also talked about flip the switch goals. And you guys shared some amazing goals. You guys are like, I want to pay off debt. I want to travel in an RV with my husband. I want to, make $10,000 a month in my business. And I just thought it was so cool to see you guys' goals, and not just goals, but goals that like you're going to know the moment it happens, that flip the switch goal that it's like, I did it. Oh, and I can't wait to see you guys celebrating the testimonies of those things actually happening. So today we're answering the question, do I have what it takes? Do I actually have what it takes to start a virtual assistant business? And so we'll be going through that today. Now, for me, I truly believe that virtual assistance is the fastest and easiest way to make money online. I believe that so deeply in my heart of hearts. Partially because I've tried other businesses. Yes, I've tried to start like e-commerce businesses, and I've looked into like domain flipping, which is a whole weird thing. And I've, thought of different websites. I could do affiliate marketing and blogging and all those things. And can you make money with all those other types of online businesses? Absolutely, yes. You can make money with other types of online businesses. But here's the thing, most types of online businesses, you have to spend so much time and energy. Or if you don't have the time and energy, you have to spend a lot of money to create a big audience, a huge audience for your blog. And then maybe if you get enough traffic to your blog, then, so many people will click on these ads and then you'll make money, right? Whereas virtual assistants, guys, you can replace your income literally 3, 4 clients. Most VAs, most freelancers have 3 to 4 clients to replace their full-time income. So you don't have to get hundreds of people to say yes to buy your course or to buy, to click on your ad or whatever on your blog. If you get 3 people to say yes, right? And the barrier to entry is just so much lower. And that's why I'm obsessed with it. I love virtual assistants. I believe in it so much. And so it's why I do what I do. I think it's an amazing, flexible work option for people who need it. So for me, it was the easiest entrance into owning an online business. And I know that because I had tried many other kinds of businesses. So let's just really dive into it today. We've talked about this before, but I want to go ahead and really give you a deep dive into what is a virtual assistant. If you're newer here and you're like, okay, I don't fully understand, it still seems a little vague what a virtual assistant actually is. Let's talk about that a little bit. So what a virtual assistant actually is a broad term. Let's be real. Virtual assistants is an umbrella term. So what do I mean by umbrella term? I mean that it's virtual assistants umbrella, right? So underneath that virtual assistants umbrella, there's a lot of different things that you could do. You could be a general virtual assistant. You could go ahead and niche down and be a Pinterest VA. You could be a real estate VA, right? A VA that does general admin, but for real estate professionals. Generally, what you're doing is you are niching down by industry or by skill. So you could say, I'm a YouTube VA, I'm a Pinterest VA, I'm an Instagram VA, and you can niche down by that specialty. Or you could say, I am a VA for real estate agents, I'm a VA for health professionals, or for those in the wedding industry, right? And so you can niche down by industry, you can niche down by actual service, or sometimes you can do industry and service, right? One of our students is making a killing doing Dubsado setup for wedding professionals, right? And so she's taken kind of that industry and that service and combined them. And so that's why when someone says, I need a virtual assistant, it can be a little difficult to be like, okay, so what do you actually need? Right? Because a VA, even a general VA, can have so many different services listed under it. And so that's why we say a virtual assistant is any kind of administrative, creative, or technical assistant supplying remote services for brick and mortar or online businesses, right? Because really, if you could do it remotely and it's considered a service, it could really be under that virtual assistant umbrella, in my opinion. So that's why we say it's a very broad term. It's more of a category than it is a specific job description. But that's okay. We can go through and actually talk about okay, Abby, that didn't give me like a whole lot of information. So what are some of the things that a VA can actually do? What are some of the most common tasks, right? And so some of the most common tasks for a general VA, again, you can specialize. And what we love to see our students do is eventually specialize in something, eventually, become a Pinterest VA or become an Instagram manager, or build Squarespace websites, whatever. We love to see you do that. But guys, and here's where we start to convince ourselves. We're like, oh, I don't know anyone in those industries, or I don't have experience in that. That's okay. What's so great about virtual assistants is you can start with the skills that you already have. And I am guessing that you guys, you showed up here today for a reason. You probably have some kind of skills already from volunteering, from a previous job that you had, from school, from clubs that you ran, something, right? you probably have some kind of previous experience that you're like, oh, I actually do know how to do that. I do know how to answer customer service emails. I do know how to send an invoice, right? Or maybe I don't know how to do those things, but I'm just really good at Googling, right? I just actually know how to do things. So there's so much that you can actually do that you probably already likely know how to do. And so some of the most common tasks for a general VA are some of those things I listed, right? Answering customer service emails, invoicing, calendar management, blogging, simple social media setup, simple social media posting, right? And this is just the beginning of the types of things that you can do. Research, right? Travel arrangements. Many of these things are listed under general VA services and likely things that you either already know how to do or with just a small amount of training, you could learn very, very quickly. So, anybody else, if you guys have like thoughts or ideas or your own definition of what a VA is, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys about how you define virtual assistants. Or maybe some of you have gotten your first client already. Tell me what those services people were asking for when you got your first client, because I think it'd be good for everybody in the comments to kind of hear that. Okay, so go ahead and post that below. All right, you guys ready? Number 3? Yes? Here we go. Number 3, what do you need to get started as a VA is what we're talking about today. And so for point number 3, I want to share with you guys that you don't actually need a lot to get started. Again, this is why I believe virtual assistants is the fastest, easiest way to make money online. Let's say you're starting an e-commerce store, right? Or an Etsy shop. You need to actually have supplies and goods and make the things and have upfront investment. You're starting a food truck. You're going to have to actually buy the supplies and buy the food truck and all of the things, right? There's so much actual startup expenses, whereas virtual assistants, is there an upfront investment? Absolutely yes. But compared to other businesses, it's so much lower. So let's talk about what you actually really need to become a VA. All right. And so this isn't necessarily a supplies list, although we can talk about that a little bit, especially in the Q&A. But let's really dig into what you actually need to be a VA. But first, I do want to share with you guys, because we're opening the doors to my SavvySystem course this Friday, and we only open the course twice a year. So if you're wanting to get in, if you're like, Abby, this is absolutely my year, go ahead and sign up for SavvySystem at SavvySystem.com for the waitlist. You're not promising that you're going to purchase or anything, but what it's going to do is it's going to give you access to a special early bird discount if you're on the wait list. So you want to make sure that you're on the wait list so you can get access to that coupon and save 10% off the cost of the course. Okay. How many of you guys are either SavvySystem members or you're on the wait list? Let me know in the comments. I know we have some Savvies joining us today, so you guys can see some of our students. They're amazing. We love our Savvies. All right, here we go. Let's talk about what you really need in order to start a virtual assistant business. Number 1. Okay, you guys are going to be like, cool, Abby. But hey, I told you I would tell you what you really need, right? So you do need a computer and decently fast internet. And here's one of the things, we could ask this question, you'd be surprised so many times, of like, what if I have a phone, or what if I have an iPad? And honestly, I truly believe that you actually need a physical desktop computer or a laptop. Now, it doesn't have to be a Mac, although I am partial to Mac. They are more expensive, and I know that. So don't feel like you actually have to do that in order to get started. We've had people start their businesses literally just going to the library and using the desktop computers there, right? So I just don't want you guys to create barriers to entrance. I would agree that you would need decently fast internet as well. A lot of times you'll be getting on like Zoom calls with clients, etc. So you don't want to have internet that's so slow that you can't really ever do anything, because you'll just end up being frustrated. I just feel like I should take this moment to let you guys know we're getting fiber this month. I'm so excited. Seriously though, I like cannot wait. Our internet's good. Again, I said decently fast internet, which is what we currently have. And I'm so excited to get fiber. It's like a dream come true. It's a Christmas miracle, really. Okay, number 2. You also need, again, it's not just a supplies list, because we're going to talk about some of the mindset things that you need as well. You need an element of figure it outedness. Do you like this word I just made up? So you need the ability, and maybe you're already this kind of person, right? Are you just the person that people come to because they're like, I don't know how to do this thing? And you're like, I can figure it out. Here's how you do it, right? Are you the person who like actually reads the instructions? Actually, you don't have to be that kind of person. I'm totally an instruction reader when putting things together, and my husband is not, but he can actually do the thing. So we work really well together. But you do need that element of like, I don't know how to do this, but I know I can figure it out. And I'm just going to be really blunt with you. I feel like that is like 70% of virtual assistants is I don't actually know how to do this, but I am darn good at figuring out how to do it, right? And so that's why we provide you resources. We have this awesome resource called Savvy Vault, and it's 50 plus tech trainings. And so if a client comes to you and is like, I'm thinking about switching to ConvertKit, could you help me with that? You could say, well, I've never used ConvertKit, but I know how to figure it out. I'm actually taking a course in ConvertKit. And then you go in the weekend and you can cram that ConvertKit course and come back and be like, hey, I'm more familiar with ConvertKit now. I took this course. And so you don't have to know all the information. I think a huge part is it just knowing where to find the information, knowing how to research well, right? That is definitely a skill that's going to help you. I love this quote from Jim Rohn. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. I feel like I need to like plaster this on my wall for my children. Okay. Number 3. Similar, but I really think that this is a mindset thing, is to get over not knowing it all. And this really comes back to our fears. And I know this because when I first got started, guys, I had no experience. Literally had no idea what I was doing. Like I'm like, I can answer your emails and all I know is Gmail and that's about it. And so clients would ask me, do you know MailChimp? Do you know MailerLite? Do you know ConvertKit? Whatever. And I would have to say, hey, I don't actually know that. I'm not proficient in that, but I'm a fast learner and I can figure it out. And I think that honesty is huge when it comes to actually figuring out, um, when it comes to approaching your clients and the things that they're asking you to do. If you don't know it, it's okay. And I think part of us just have to be like, it's okay. Spoiler alert, you're never going to know all the tech. You're just not. Like, there's no way. There's new tech being released all the time. And as soon as you know tech really, really well, like Squarespace, we're like, yeah, we know Squarespace. We're Squarespace experts. Then Squarespace changes everything, right? So, like, tech is always changing, always adapting. You're always going to be learning. So, if you're a person who likes learning, you're going to like virtual assistants. Number 4, you have to be okay with releasing a non-polished product. And so this ties back to one of our core values of our company, which is action over perfection. And we believe that so much. And here's why, is because so often perfectionists, I'm raising my hand here, I can tend to be a perfectionist. Side note, I'm an Enneagram 7, so I go to a 1 when I'm stressed, if anybody knows anything about Enneagram. So even though I'm like, oh, things are cool, things are chill, whatever, we'll figure it out. When I'm stressed, I'm like, this has to be perfect. So I understand all the perfectionists out there. I sympathize with you. But I think that one of the biggest things that really holds us back is feeling like I can't launch. I can't launch before it's perfect. Like I can't get out there and start telling friends about my business if I don't have my logo and my website and my brand colors and professional photos and business cards and all. And it's like, no, actually, you can start telling people. You can start with a coming soon page on your website. You can start getting out there. You can launch your website even if you're so frustrated that picture won't move over half an inch and you've been trying for like 5 hours to do it, right? And so we are huge on saying, you know what? Like if you're stressing out about your business name, say whatever I choose on Friday, I'm just going to go with. Like Friday at noon. That's my deadline. Whatever I've come up with by Friday at noon, that is my business name and I'm going to move forward, because guess what? You can actually go back and change it if you think of something better, right? Like it's not actually that hard. We're not starting like, a business where you're going to order like 50,000 business cards and you're going to order a big neon sign to go on the front of your house. Like you don't need all of that startup cost. So it's actually not that hard to go back and change things if there's something that you like better. Or to pick new colors or whatever. So you have to be okay with just being like, this is my decision. I'm going to move forward. Even if I don't feel 100% like it's perfect, because I know I can always come back and make it better. Okay. You guys tracking with me? Give me some heart, love, whatever, thumbs up in the comments if you're taking this to heart. All the perfectionists in the watching this right now can be like, yes, Abby, you're speaking to me. Okay. So next, you need time to commit to the business. And so this is actually like a very this is a question that we get a lot, is how much time do I actually need to start a VA business? And so my answer is that I would not recommend that you even begin starting this business if you don't have at least like bare minimum 5 hours a week to really commit to it. And I would say that was bare minimum. Okay. Because and that would be devoted time, not distracted time too. What's the difference between devoted and distracted time? Distracted time is when like cartoons are in the background and kids are pulling on your shirt and you're like kind of answering 4 emails over here, but kind of doing this over here. Like that's not devoted time. Devoted time is where there are no distractions and you can really dig in and do that deep work. Okay. So you need 5 hours of deep work time in your schedule at the bare minimum if you're going to start this. And if you don't have that time, it's okay. You just need to decide, okay, do I need to shift some things around in my schedule? How am I going to carve out that deep work time? It may involve asking people for help, which I know a lot of us don't like to do either. But it may involve asking people for help so that you can actually carve out that devoted time. Or it may just be you being honest with yourself and saying, man, maybe now isn't the season. Maybe, maybe I can set a goal to start this thing 6 months from now when my schedule gets a little lighter. So it's one of those things that you actually have to decide for yourself, but I'm a huge fan of actually carving that time out in your business, setting it aside, time blocking, and really decide how are you going to be purposeful during those amount of time. I'll say this too. Don't be too stressed if you don't feel like you have as much time as other people have. I feel like that was one of my biggest roadblocks when I started my business, because I was a mom. I was actually a stay-at-home mom at the time. And I felt like, I'm like, man, if I just would have started this in college, right? Like if I just would have started this when I wasn't married with kids, I would have had so much more time, right? And like the truth of the matter is that I really feel that some of us who have less time are actually more productive. I was in a mastermind group once. It was me in my, mid 30s with all these like 20-year-old kids. And every single week we'd show up and we'd talk about the work that we got done the previous week. And every single week I would show up and I would have gotten like 10 times more done than all of these other people. And they're like, Abby, how do you do this? Like you have kids and a husband and all this different stuff, like, and like just life, right? Like I just had a lot more going on. And the reality is that, my 20-year-old friend, he would get up every morning, he would like go for like a 2-hour run. He'd stop and have coffee. He had brunch with a friend. Then he'd come get a little work done. Then he'd go to the gym and then he would do this. And so it was like, and then he'd like cram for 4 hours late at night, right? While watching TV in the background. Whereas I only had 4 hours a day. I had 4 hours a day to get work done. That was like how much devoted time I had set aside at this point in my business. And I was just like, that's it. That's all I have. I can't linger. I can't whatever. Like, I'm going to get stuff done during these 4 hours. And I did, right? So I honestly think that some of us need to change our mindset and realize that sometimes our limited time can be an advantage, not a disadvantage. Okay. Just a little side note for you there. All right. So let's move on. So take action. So after each one of these live stream trainings, we actually have an action item that you guys can take part of. And so here's what I would like for you today. If you've decided that virtual assistants is right for you, I just want you to tell somebody, anybody. Okay. It can be your mom. That's fine. We got to start somewhere. So tell somebody, I think I'm going to do this thing. It's really, it becomes real when you tell somebody. Like if you haven't told anybody about your business yet, or about your potential business, or about just the idea that you're thinking about doing this, I encourage you to do that today, and then come back to this live stream and let us know in the comments, hey, I did it, Abby, I did it, and maybe here was the outcome, because there's something really rewarding about telling somebody about your business. And it's the first step to getting comfortable about talking about your business. This is just what we're going to talk about on Friday. Is about marketing, is about getting yourself out there. So that's your challenge for today. It's simple. I'm challenging you to be bold, right? I'm going to have to be bold here in a second with the embarrassing thing that my team has planned for me. So you have to be bold as well. All right, here we go. So that is it for today's training. We're going to do a Q&A time. I do want to remind you guys to get on the VIP list. I forget which side it's on. Get on the VIP list for 10% off the SavvySystem. If you guys are interested in joining the SavvySystem, it does open up this Friday. I'm so excited. We're estimating about 500 people are going to come in. So you'll be in this huge group of people starting their business together, all this momentum, all this feedback, and shared experience. It's going to be really, really awesome. So come and join us. We open up this Friday. All right. We're going to do a live Q&A time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring Melanie back on. Just give me one moment. All right. There we go. Hey, Melanie.
Hey, everybody. Okay, so we have some really good questions rolling in. The first one is, someone asked, why is a computer better when getting started over a tablet or iPad?
You know, it's just my personal preference. You can try, but I've found that a lot of the tools that we use as virtual assistants, things like Canva or ConvertKit or MailChimp or some of the things that clients are going to ask you to do, the tools just aren't as user friendly on mobile. In addition, especially if you're doing things like writing customer service emails, maybe you've perfected this motion, but at the same time, like typing is just so much faster. It's going to be so much more efficient. So that's my recommendation. Again, if you want to get started on your tablet and your phone, and then if you have like an actual, okay, I need to go and do deep work, I can go to the library and use their computer. I am a huge fan of starting with what you have. So if that's all you have, like, I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just going to be more difficult. So that's my personal opinion.
I agree. Okay, so Darnett asks, you mentioned that the program opens twice a year. When does it open next?
Yeah, great question. So we generally launch our program in January and July, August. So I think we have our summer dates picked, but I don't remember them off the top of my head. So it will be about 6 months until we do a big open launch again. Something else that I haven't even actually mentioned yet is I've been running this course since 2016. We've added so much value. 3,000 students have come in. We have live trainings that happen every single month. And so you literally get access to like trainings from years past, documents, a template vault. There's so much that you get access to that we've actually decided that in July, we're going to be increasing the price. So this is the last launch to get in at the current pricing, which is $997. So the price will be increasing in July. So it's just a really good time, especially just January, new year, right? Fresh start. It's definitely the time to jump in.
Okay, and Evelyn asks, can one be successful as a VA if more time is available on the weekends versus the weekdays?
Oh, I totally think so. Don't you, Melanie?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Melanie, you started your business while you were working a full-time job. So I'm assuming that you worked a lot of weekends, right?
I did, absolutely. And it's just being really intentional with the time that you have, time blocking and those productive tips that we had yesterday. And then also just communicating with your clients and being really communicative with the hours that you're available to communicate with them.
I agree. I totally agree. What else? What do we got?
Okay, so Whitney says, let's see. Do you know of any niches that involve anything about the environment or animals, wildlife?
Oh, wow, that's an interesting question. Yeah. So we have one of our students actually. It's just so cool because sometimes I'm like, I don't know, that niche seems super specific. And then you'll find people, they'll just go out and they'll kill it and just be like amazing. So one of our VAs is a VA for those in like the like equine industry. So like people who like have horses and have ranches and things
Mhm.
like that. And I'm just like, that's so cool. So the thing about industry and and about niching by industry is that I would normally recommend niching by industry if you already have connections to that industry. That's the best time, or if you at least know where to find those connections. For instance, if you are maybe you're highly connected to the wedding industry because you used to be a wedding photographer and you have all these contacts, or you like maybe you don't have a ton of the contacts, but you know where those people hang out, right? Like the big Facebook groups that they're in, or the conferences that they go to, and you're willing to like go to those conferences. So niching by industry is really great if you already have previous experience and you have connections in that industry, or at least if you know where to find those people. So if you want to be a real estate VA, but you've never interacted with anyone in the real estate industry, you know nothing about the real estate industry, it might not be the best, that might not be the best niching opportunity for you. So that would be my recommendation is if you're going to niche down by industry, have a connection to some people in that industry already, or at least know where those people are hanging out.
Totally agree. And Kay wants to know if there's an overview of what the Savvy system covers.
Yeah, so actually I can just show you guys. Well, did I do it right? 1 second. Let me do.
And while you're opening it,
Yeah,
Chloe also
go ahead and go to the next question because I'm gonna find it for you.
well, and this actually while you're looking has to do with what are the major differences between the two Savvy systems, the basic and the ultimate.
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so whenever we launch the course on Friday, we actually have two versions, our basic Savvy system and ultimate. And don't let the word basic make you think that it's basic
No.
because it's awesome. So basic simply means that it is our step-by-step course for teaching you how to use the skills that you already have. So what are, I already know how to do these things. I need to learn how to price, package, do my services, legalities. I need to have a contract, an onboarding system, marketing, systematizing my processes, things like that. Savvy Vault is our tech training membership. So the ultimate includes all the things that you need to actually set up your business, marketing, and all of the tech training. So if you want to go above and beyond, so Savvy Vault is we release a new tech course every single month. So we have Canva, ConvertKit, MailChimp, right? How to be a Pinterest VA, how to be a real estate VA. Those are all in our skills and tech trainings, which is Savvy Vault. So the ultimate combines the two and gives you lifetime access to both, which we actually only do when we launch the program. So that's the difference between the ultimate and the ultimate and the basic. And let me just really quickly share it with you. All right, so can you guys see this okay? So here is what it looks like inside of the Savvy system. Sorry, I didn't have this pulled up earlier, but essentially what we do is there's 106 lessons inside of it. It's designed to be a year-long program. Yes, it is a lot of content. We know that, which is why it's well worth the value, right? So we give you an intro, some like definitions, access to our template vault, which is really cool. It's literally like copy paste templates if you need to raise your prices, or if you want to ask for ask for a review or different scenarios. If you need to fire a client, we literally have like copy paste templates inside of this template vault. And then we go into discovering your skill set, how to price and package your services, brand academy. So choosing your business name, logo, your colors, things like that. Processes and assets, that's essentially you coming up with a portfolio, claiming your Facebook page. We actually don't have you build a website until after you've gotten your first client. So, but you do need some of these assets. Essentially, you need to know what you're going to do if a client says, yes, I want to hire you. And you have to be like, cool, now what, right? You have to have your processes in place of what you're going to do. We talk about money. So we talk about how to deal with unpaid invoices, taxes, developing a profit and loss spreadsheet. And then legalities, we actually give you access to a contract, and not just the contract, but the attorney who created the contract gives you guys advice. So if you have questions about your contract, included in the cost of the course is the ability to email her and ask questions about your contract, which is insane. If you guys know how much legal counsel usually costs, now it's just for the contract, it's not for other things, obviously. But that's a huge, huge benefit. State requirements and insurance. And then we go into marketing, right? We go through like the basics of marketing. And then we actually go through how do you find jobs on Facebook, market research meeting, freelancing websites, how to master LinkedIn, Craigslist, job search sites, etc. Then we go through actually developing your website. So we teach you how to develop a website. And then we go through just some of the things about being a virtual assistant, how to deal with difficult clients, right? Time management, asking for testimonials, how to transition from a full-time job to a full-time VA. This is a really great lesson. How to fire a client, how to raise your prices. So maybe you've sold out your services and you're like, okay, I want to make more money now. So this is the scale section. How do I raise my prices now? How do I build a team? If you're wanting to have kind of that agency model, how do you actually start building a team? How do you bring on subcontractors so you can actually make money when you're not even working, right? And then just that ending lesson is kind of what's next. Once you've done all of this, you're hitting 2, 3, 5K months. What's actually the next step?
I love
so yeah.
Well, and I went through the SavvySystem myself, and I got halfway through the course and I was already booked out in clients. So, and then you just have the resources to scale from there. There's so much.
There's so much. I love our course so much. I really do. I'm really, really proud of it.
And someone wants to know, how do you take an unplugged vacation when you're booked out in clients?
Yeah, that's a really really great question. So, and it's one of the things that we actually talk about in the course is actual like planning a vacation. And so there's a couple of ways to do it. Every way just involves planning. Essentially, you have to plan really well. I totally recommend that you take an unplugged vacation. I think it's really good for you to do that at least once a year. Usually do like some kind of a summer or spring break thing in addition to, taking time off around the holidays. And then as you grow your business, you can do more than that, obviously. But when it comes to taking an actual unplugged vacation, you have to let your clients know, hey, I'm going to be unplugged this week entirely. So how that works financially is you can say, if somebody has purchased a package of 20 hours a month from you and you're going to be gone in week 2 of the month, you can say, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work extra this week before, or I'm going to work extra the week after, and just really communicate with them. Another option is to hire in subcontractors to do some of the work with you. And so I usually recommend that if you're a little further on in business and you already have some systems and some processes, and you can actually have subcontractors for that 1 week communicating with your clients and working with them, working on projects behind the scenes. So, and then the third option would be to just take that week off and discount your rate because of taking that week off. That would be kind of the third option as well. If you're just like, I want to be completely unplugged, I'm going to reduce everybody's rate for that. But that wouldn't be the one I recommend. Out of those 3 options, I would probably recommend the first one, which would be just to really, communicate, plan, and just work extra on the buffers. But that's up to you. And then eventually, right, once you have a team of subcontractors, it's totally fine for you to take as much vacation time as you want.
And Abby too, as a Pinterest manager, and I know a lot of social media marketers that are able to schedule out content in advance prior to their vacation. So as you scale your services and niche down, you're able to still get paid that same amount without having to actually work that during that time. So I found that
great point. That's one of the reasons I love Pinterest management so much, is because like social media management, Pinterest management, yeah, there's so much that you can just do ahead of time, just pre-schedule it all.
Okay, and Nick wants to know, is the market for VA still in demand? I hear you talking about there being hundreds of people in our program.
Yeah. So, and I know this is a question we get a lot, and it's crazy because, when I started my business back in 2016 is when we launched the online course. We launched an online community. I mean, we started with 0 members in our Facebook group, grew to a couple hundred, grew to a couple thousand, then 10,000, then 20,000. Then now we have almost 60,000 people in our free group, right? In our free Facebook group. And you would think, oh my gosh, this industry is getting so big, like it's so oversaturated. But I would really beg to differ, because I truly believe, and this is what I've seen, is that, as our group grows bigger, it's not just the amount of VAs, but it's the amount of people coming in and posting job opportunities. People are getting more open to the idea of hiring a virtual assistant. People know what a VA is now more than they did back in 2016, right? And so with that knowledge comes, oh, I could hire this kind of person myself. And so I really believe that it's been, in my opinion, fairly consistent. Now, is there competition? Yes. And so one of the main things you have to learn is how to stand apart from the competition. And so that's where I gave this story yesterday where, I was hiring a Pinterest manager. I got like 50 people applying, sending me their portfolios, etc. And out of those 50 people, only 3 did the secrets that we're going to teach you in Friday's webinar of how to like actually be a person that stands out. So don't be discouraged by the competition. As long as you have that competitive edge and you know what's going to make you stand apart from the competition, it doesn't even matter that they're there, right? So that would be my advice for you.
I love that. And Pamela wants to know why the Virtual Savvy over other programs. Just curious. I do love what I'm hearing and seeing so far, though.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I'm friends with some of the other VA trainers, so I'm like, I love our program. We see the results, and I can share a few different things that are unique about our program. But I will say that there are other really great VA training programs out there. So I'm not going to be like, mine is the best and theirs is terrible, because I don't think that's true. And I've seen people get results with some of their programs as well. So at the end of the day, I really believe that you have to do what's best for you. Here's some of the things that you can do to help make your decision. Number one, you need to think about people's teaching styles. If you're going to be taking an online course, you're likely going to be hearing from them a lot. So if like the way that I talk and interact with you guys is like, that drives me crazy, you probably shouldn't take my course, right? But if you're like, oh, Abby, I like the way she teaches, I like the way she explains things, it's really easy to follow her, then that would be a good sign that I would be a good fit for you. No offense, I'm not offended at all if you go with somebody else. Also look at the features. We have there's somebody that came to us about a year ago. Her name's Valerie, and she was actually comparing all of the different VA training programs, and she created this like side-by-side comparison. And so she was a total neutral third party, and came to us after she had actually reviewed all these other people. Someone was like, hey, you need to review the Virtual Savvy too. And she's like, oh, okay. So she came and reviewed ours, and she lined them all side by side. And so my team can put that in the comments if you guys wanted to take a look at that. I will say at the very end, she did come to the conclusion that she wanted to like mainly push our course. So you might see that in there, but that was after she had reviewed everything and really saw, man, I really feel like yours gives the best value. So I'd say take a look at all of them. This blog post, if my team is putting it in the chat, it'll show you all the other ones. So literally go and look for them, because the majority of people on that list, I would say you would probably do well with any of those programs.
I love that. And so I have a couple people asking, is your group accepting students from Europe? And what's the biggest difference between starting in the USA versus the UK in terms of our program?
Such a good question. So yes, so we actually have students all over the world who have come into our program, and the process has been very simple. We very, very similar for people in other countries. Again, most of the marketing tactics we teach you are not like exclusive to the US. Most of them are international opportunities or websites that you can use on an international basis. So you can definitely get clients outside of just where you live. And I would say, as far as the course content goes, it is the 2 main sections that are going to be different for you would be legalities and taxes. So in the legalities section, like, of course, you can still use our contract, but it would still be wise to have an attorney in your country at least look at it and see if there's anything different that you need to do in order to for your country. So that would be one thing. And then the other would be taxes. Obviously, our tax system is going to be a lot different. Some of the general principles we teach, like, hey, you should save back a portion of all of the money you make to save for taxes. Like that would be the same, obviously. But as far as what should that percentage be, how do you actually go about filing your taxes, things like that is obviously going to be different where you live. So we can point you to some good resources for those two things. But as you can see, we have like 176 lessons in the course, and that's literally just 2 of the things. So there's so much more value inside of the course, but you're still going to get a lot even from those 2 sections. It's just you need to check with the country you live in to see if there's any variances that are specific to you.
Okay, and this one really ties well into that. Do you feel that overseas VAs is highly competitive for American VAs due to the significant pay per hour difference?
So in our course, we don't actually teach you to have a pay difference. Honestly, one of my coaching students from like way back in the day, she was launching her business in India, and this was one of her like biggest struggles. So she's like, I know my skill. Like I know that I can serve US clients just like I can serve clients here in India, and I really want to build this thing up to be huge. And so she decided to go ahead and set her rate just like everybody else that in the course was setting their rate, right? And what's so cool is that she went on to build this massive agency, making 6 figures plus per year. And then she was actually able to employ local people. And for her, that was like her bigger mission, was like, now I'm able to actually give people here in India a job that they wouldn't have normally been able to have. And it was just so cool. So, I wouldn't look, when I look at people who are charging $3 an hour for their services, we talked about virtual assistants being a category. In my mind, honestly, I view it as a totally different category. So you're not competing with those people, because the people who are going to hire a VA for $3 an hour are not the people that are going to hire you. It's a totally different type of client. It's a totally different type of business. So that's my recommendation. You can take it or leave it, but those are my personal opinions.
Okay, and Evelyn wants to know, how much should we share with our current employer of our endeavors as a VA?
Yeah, great question. So it's really important that if you sign some kind of a contract when you were employed, that you take a look at that contract. Some employers actually will not, it's like in a contract that you possibly signed that you can't have another business. So you definitely do need to look into that. And then if that's not something that you signed, if it's not something that's kind of a standard or a rule at your where you work currently, then I think so much of it depends on the relationship that you have with your client, kind of the attitude towards having outside businesses. Where I worked previously, people, it didn't matter at all. Like it was just like, that's awesome. Like I still talk to one of my old senior leaders about her starting her own VA business and things like that. So but it's just every single workplace is different. So it kind of just depends on, the attitude of your workplace. The main thing that you have to see is, number one, can I actually even do this, right? Did I sign some kind of a contract or anything saying that I would not start another business? And then kind of take it from there.
Okay, and someone asks, how do you overcome the fear of putting yourself out there?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I feel like you should answer this one, Melanie. Was that scary for you when you reached out to go get your first client?
Absolutely. And it's, there's a lot that goes into that. There's the fear of rejection. There's just the fear of that imposter syndrome, the fear that you're not good enough to be able to offer these services. And that's why the SavvySystem really puts an emphasis on action over perfection. When you're just getting started, even if you're really good at a skill, you might be new to business. So that's why we encourage you just to just to do it scared, right? To that go set ready and just start talking to people, even starting with your friends and family who you're comfortable with, and just celebrate, hey, I'm starting this new adventure as a virtual assistant, and then they'll celebrate with you and start spreading the word. So it's really just accepting, like Abby was saying earlier, accepting that not everything's going to be perfect, and just start talking about it.
Yeah. And we embrace the idea of failing forward too. Like you're gonna, once we can go to live networking events again, you're gonna go to a live networking event and you're gonna introduce yourself and you're gonna stumble over your words. And it's just gonna be like, that sucked. Awesome.
We've all been there.
And then you just keep, and you get better the next time, right? What's so cool about like right now, in my opinion, is that a lot of the marketing that we're doing, a lot of the outreach that we're doing is done online. And so while it might be scary to go on like a face-to-face meeting, there's usually a lot that leads up to that. So if you're like recording a video for your potential client, right? You're doing like a value first, you're recording a video and you're going to send it to them to say why they should do your services. Well, hit record. And if the video stinks, just re-record the video, right? So like, I mean, again, action over perfection. Don't re-record the video like 700 times. But if you want to record it a couple times until you're like, okay, I feel good about that one, then that's fine. Or if you can do this. I've done this before. You type up the email where you're telling your friends and family about your business, it's all ready. And you're like, all right, I'm going to hit send. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then you hit send and run away. So like, that's another option too. So like, sometimes you just have to be like, oh, I'm going to do this. And that's what's so cool about, when you have other people building this thing at the same time as you, then you have that momentum and you can see other people's celebrations. And you're like, oh, like the other side of my fear is me saying that celebration, I got my first client. Like I want to get there too. Right. And so I think it really helps to have that motivation.
And that's why inside the SavvySystem, we put an emphasis on finding accountability and having a partner, even from the beginning of our program, to help push you and encourage you to make those big, scary decisions.
For sure.
And
let's do like maybe one or two more questions, and then we'll do our Be Bold challenge since you guys stayed till the very end.
Okay. And so several people have asked, including Linda and Eliza and several other people, do you need to get established as an LLC before launching your business?
Great question. So my suggestion is that everyone should form an LLC. But let me say a few things about that. So what does an LLC do? An LLC protects your personal assets. So it separates your personal assets from your individual assets. It doesn't do anything as far as taxes are concerned, like anything like that. There's nothing going to be changing as far as your tax status. It really protects you legally. Okay. An LLC is a limited liability corporation. It is taking away the liability you personally have and putting it into the business. And so what that really means, if I'm just being like brash about it, if somebody wanted to sue you, they couldn't take your personal assets. They could only sue the business. Okay. So that's essentially what an LLC is. Now, you do need to look into your local requirements to see if you have to have an LLC. Some states actually say if you want to have a home-based business, you have to have an LLC. And in that case, yeah, you got to do it, right? In some places, you can just start off as a sole proprietor and you don't have to have that LLC. And so at that point, you kind of have to decide, like, do I want to go ahead and invest the money in it or do I not? In Missouri, it's super cheap to start an LLC. California, where Melanie lives, it's not so cheap. Nothing's cheap in California. So, or easy, I will just go ahead and say, but it's possible. It's doable. Melanie did it. You can do it too. So essentially you've got to decide, okay, if it is an option, if I'm choosing, if I just want to be a sole proprietor and my personal assets are liable, or if I want to be an LLC, you kind of have to mitigate that risk yourself. Mm-hmm. So when I first started my business, I had no assets. I had a car somebody gave to me and like a little bit of credit card debt, and that's all I had. So it's like, yep, come after me. I don't have anything to give you, right? And so like, for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. But then once I started making more money, we bought a house, we had vehicles that were nicer and didn't have to like, one of my vehicles, when I turned the windshield wipers on, the radio didn't work. Like, what is that? Like, that can't be good. I used to park my car under under trees and storms, like hoping a tree would fall on it and I'd get the insurance. Like, I'm telling you,
That's amazing.
I've been in that very, very low financial point. So, where was I even going with this? You have to, you know, assess your own risk is essentially where I was going with all those stories. On that note, we should do our Be Bold challenge. What do you think, Melanie?
Okay, let's
made it till the end. Okay, so just a reminder, we are going live tomorrow again at noon Central Time. So if you want to get reminders of that, you can go to thevirtualsavvy.com/jumpstart. And then if you want to sign up for the waitlist, SavvySystem.com. If you guys are looking forward to the course opening on Friday, it's going to be pretty awesome. So you should join us. All right, here we go. We are going to do our Be Bold challenge. So what is this? Essentially, our team came up with this fun idea. I'm so excited for it. Our team came up with this idea that we are encouraging you guys to be bold, right? So we believe in action over perfection. So what if my team came up with like a secret way for me to be bold and Melanie to be bold? And so essentially, I think they just wanted to see us embarrass ourselves on camera. So that's what we're going to do. So what's our Be Bold challenge? And we're just finding out about these. So today's dare, improv karaoke lyric change. Okay, this will be fun. So a little insider, my team and I, we like to change lyrics to songs a lot to have them relate to virtual assistants. So I'm assuming that's what this is.
We're sorry.
Okay. All right, Melanie, are you ready?
Oh my gosh. What did they do?
We're going to sing this.
Okay.
This is our challenge. We have to be bold. If we're not bold, nobody else can be bold, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay, are we doing Britney Spears? Oh, Sammy. No, okay. Oh, I can't sing, by the way, so this will be fun. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, savvy, how was I supposed to know
that corporate
wasn't for me? Oh, savvy. I should have let it go. And now it's out of sight. Show me how to be a Tell me, Savvy, because I need to know now. Because, go, Melanie.
My 9 to 5. Oh, Savvy. My 9 to 5 is killing me, and I must confess, I wanna leave.
When I'm at my desk, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Be a Savvy.
Oh no, beatbox breakdown.
No, I don't know. Okay, that was fun.
Hey, oh gosh. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Virtual Savvy team. We love you guys.
But hope you guys love the jump start, not so much our singing.
Be bold. All right, guys. Thank you so much again. I hope that you enjoyed our time together, and we will see you for tomorrow's late. I think we lost 100 people during that.
Hey, I thought it was going to be more. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.